I get to talk a lot to CTOs and CEOs. And at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all people.
Hello and welcome back to everyone. I am your local and familiar face and host and guide, Kyle. And today with us, we have something a little bit different. We have one of the people that usually companies are scared of. And they have that perception, oh no, the auditor is here. So without further ado, I'd like to give a brief introduction. We've got Tali from EY on the call with us today. Tali, a little bit of background, studied a BSc in IT and management of information systems, worked at Intel for around 5 years, if I'm not mistaken, before moving across to EY, where she works as an IT consultant for the last few years. Thank you very much for making some time to be with us today. Anything I can add on, or any more background you'd like to give before we jump into any of the topics?
No, I think that you said it all. I worked in Intel, and then I just did the relocation to the compliance world. And it's been almost 2 years since I joined EY and I entered into this world, this amazing world. So I think that we can start.
Lovely. Thanks, Tali. I think it takes a special kind of person that says to enter into this amazing world of compliance and audit. I think any customer getting scrutinized and audited maybe doesn't quite feel the same, but I mean, I share your sentiment, having spent a bit of time in an audit space as well, and I know what it's like. I mean, a customer always sort of seems to have this somewhat naive perception that an auditor wants them to fail and they want to scrutinize and fail them. But at the end of the day, the more things that aren't aligned and the more controls that fail, the more work for you, the more follow-ups with them. So at the end of the day, it's one of those I always try to use, and I'm keen to hear your thoughts on it as well. The better controls can be, and the easier it is to audit, the better for you and the better for the customer, right?
Exactly. I think that we both, me and the customer, we have a mutual goal, because every project is a whole world. Every project, every company, every process is a whole world. With the cooperation of the company, we can do everything quick, smooth, and you just need to pay attention to controls. So you just need to pay attention to what you provide in order to support the control, and just prove the process. Just that's it.
And one thing that actually really stands out there, Tali, that you mentioned, is that each control, each company, each process is a world on its own. And I mean, it speaks to the personalization of it. And if you're talking about SOC 1 or SOC 2, you have control requirements, but exactly like you said, one customer to the next is different. No one has things exactly the same, and that's their own little world of addressing security compliance requirements. And maybe jumping into the requirements side of things, you're a pretty seasoned auditor at this point in time. I mean, on a weekly basis, you're probably racking up tens of additional projects and more experience in the field. So take the listeners through maybe a little bit of insights into your career, what lessons you've learned, I suppose. Not often, like we said, people are getting the side of, tell us about you as an auditor, how it's changed and evolved. So now is the time for that.
So I think that I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about customers, of course, and about clients and companies in general, about how many startups we have. I'm from EY Israel, so Israel is the startup nation. We always mention that. So yeah, it's been quite some time, and next month it's going to be my second year in this world, second year in EY. So yeah, I got to do some thinking about what I've learned until now and what I've achieved. And I can say for sure that I've achieved a lot. I've achieved connections with people, and I've achieved so many professional tools and so many professional methods, and so much technical knowledge that I didn't have until I started this job. So, I think that it's very fascinating.
So firstly, before going any further, congratulations. I think work anniversaries must always be celebrated. An awesome achievement. And what's also really nice to hear in your explanation and answer is just how much work satisfaction you get. And isn't that such an important thing? People on a daily basis are spending however many hours doing a job, but to be able to do something you enjoy, that you learn and you're growing from, really, really is awesome. So, I mean, on all the achievements, congratulations on the work anniversary. That's super exciting, and I hope that will be celebrated nicely. And moving along to a good few elements you touched on there. So you spoke about learning and understanding new customers. You work with a lot of different people. You work with a lot of different products and technologies. You mentioned the startup nation of Israel, which is so spot on. So tying that together, how do you find some balance in it? I mean, you have to have the personal touch and that somewhat professional relationship with the customer, along with auditing different technologies. How do you get efficiency in that process? What does it look like for you?
That's a very good question, how I balance everything. I know what each customer does and what they offer. And of course, we do kickoffs before every project that I get an information about the company and what their product is and what they use for the cloud provider and, some details. I get to talk a lot to CTOs and CEOs. And at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all people. And I think that this is the best balance because I get to talk to them almost every day, and I get to keep in touch with them. So I think that this is my balance, just to build this connection with them, to build this relationship with them in sort of way.
So for anyone listening, I think a few parts that you mentioned, they already really get rid of that old school mentality of the auditor being the bad person, where you have a genuine interest in what your customer does and you want to learn and understand about their product. And it's multifaceted. I mean, firstly, you want to understand about them because you need to be the best auditor you can be. So to have a good understanding about their product and what data and what really is important for them from a compliance or security side is important for you in your job. But the other side, like you said, you get to speak to some amazing people who have some really cool revolutionary products. So for anyone listening, there's one small takeaway for you already. It's not just about do the audits and get out. It's a genuine interest. We touched on it right in the beginning with these auditors are a little bit strange. They genuinely enjoy auditing and doing compliance, and it's a strange space to be in. And maybe one of the questions or topics I'd love to dive into now, I often refer to it as the golden nuggets. Let's maybe debunk a few of those misconceptions about the auditing process that you've come across that, I don't know, maybe in your experience or that you've seen with colleagues. Just what do people have a perspective or understanding of that's actually totally wrong in an auditing world?
So I think that the biggest misconception is that it's a terrifying process. I just had a company, lovely company. I really like to work with them, but they were scared. The lady that I worked with, she told me that she talked to people in the industry, and they told her that this process is very scary and very long, and that she needs to prepare to the worst. As we were into the process, and I explained to her what she needs to provide and how the process is going to be like, she understood that it's really not that bad. As I said in the beginning, I think that cooperation is one of the biggest parts in this process. We need to cooperate together because at the end of the day, we have the same goal. It's not scary as people try to paint it. And yeah, as you said, us the auditors, we are human beings as well. Yes, we enjoy our work and we enjoy to audit, but we are human and we are very nice human beings as well. And you can talk to us and you can share with us your concerns, and we are here for you for everything. I can say about my team, and I'm not going to talk about myself, but I can say about my team that we are an amazing team with amazing managers. So you can talk about everything with us, and we are here for you. at the end of the day. We're here for you for every question. We are here for you to walk through the process as easy as we can.
I think the way this conversation's maybe going today, Tali, is we're almost going through a bit of an audit process. We started with a gap analysis as our introduction. We went through a few topics of conversation, maybe what controls and processes you have in place. We've done the debunking. So let's jump into the actual audit process. How do you balance having a really detailed approach to an audit to allow you to never skip on that professionalism and that detail that the auditing methodology requires, but at the same time get through as many projects as possible? What tools support that? And what have you seen change? I mean, I'm asking about 100 questions in one here, and I'll let you take it in whatever direction you want. But how's that world changed?
Usually, the evidence, the actual evidence, and I'm talking about the technical part of the audit, which is gathering the evidence. So usually the evidence are gathered in OneDrive or something like that, in a shared drive, and then the auditor downloads it to his computer, and it goes, and the auditor goes through the evidence with the control list, and it takes time. It takes time to go through all the evidence. But let's say I can say even since I came to EY, and it started a little bit before, so we started using platforms that help gather all the evidence, that help gather all the control list that we need. Platforms that help us do the gap analysis. They have everything in one shot. They have everything in the platform. So when we do a gap analysis or scoping, so we go through the control list, and we mark what we need and what we don't need, what the company has and what the company doesn't have. And then the gathering of the evidence is much easier because we use technology for that. We use different integrations between the different tools that the company uses, between the platform and the tool that the company uses. So I think that this is a major change, and I can tell that it's very, very, very helpful. It's also helpful for our internal processes in EY. After the audit is done, we have some internal processes, and it's very helpful.
And when we say it's helpful and it's made things better without having to try do too much complex mathematics, how helpful are they? Does it make the auditing process 10% quicker, 50%? What does that look like?
In my opinion, I think that it makes the audit process even 60-70% quicker, because I don't need to, let's say, chase the company to bring me evidence, because everything is in the platform, and I can also comment if something is missing, and I can tell them, hey, you can please upload this one and this one and this one, and then I download everything in one shot, and it's much easier. I wish that all the companies will use platforms in the future, because it's so much helpful. It's quicker for the auditor, it's quicker for the company, and the report is out with no delays usually.
So it's quite what's the right word? Eye-opening. Makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside at the same time, listening to how open and how much you encourage and embrace the change. Because I mean, if we take a typical auditing space and we think about these big auditing firms, it's a corporate, and it's a sort of the facet of work that's quite difficult to change how things operate, because they have had processes. There's such a big reputation on the line. So to have things go wrong, there's obviously a very big impact from that. So you see the positives. I mean, you touched on so many there, how it's centralizing the process for you. And look, you, if anyone, need to just have your time management, if I'm understanding you correctly, really to a T, because you've got many customers all on different platforms needing to know many different skills. So I suppose this is where the BSc IT degree is allowing you to make use of technology in a good way. But centralizing that process and just making it quicker for you. Is there anything else, I mean, from an automation and AI perspective? We've spoken about the platforms, and suppose with so many companies using cloud provider tools and everything just being so accessible, that also helps to make it better. Are you seeing the same sort of thing when you're carrying out your audits? What else has changed from an automation perspective in a compliance or auditing landscape?
So I feel that besides the platform, so there are also many tools that I can say that we use in my team, that we connect to the tools of the company, and we do the integrations with some tools that use machine learning and AI, of course. So it's very helpful that we do the integrations, and we pull the necessary information that we need from the company. So I think that as time goes by and we discover more and more tools that support the audit process, so I think that this is a major change. Instead of open a share drive or OneDrive and download all the evidence, and then it's very heavy, of course. I think that this is a very big change as well, because in the past, we needed to do everything manually. We needed to ask from the client, and the audits also, the audit meetings took very long time, and sometimes we needed to divide the meetings into two separate meetings. And now within 2-3 hours, even less, we get everything done. As time goes by, more and more tools are discovered and developed to help the auditors and to help in the compliance world to make it easier for all of us.
The technology's here, isn't it? And it's absolutely been embraced, and it's been welcomed from what you're saying to me. Yes. So it's good to hear you moving with times, and again, very positive and very well received, how it's making things better for you, how it's better for the customer. And I'm going to use that to wrap up this conversation and audit process that we've gone through today. We'll use that end part with technology and maybe our final remarks now are the final audit reports where we've gone through, and I'll maybe begin by saying thank you. Thank you for making some time to really debunk these myths about how terrible auditors are and how scary an audit process is, and reassuring a prospect or someone thinking about going through the process but not quite having enough confidence to. Well, hopefully listening to this, you are now prepared to, and you've been a little bit more reassured. So Tali, for taking time out of your extremely busy day, thank you. If there's anything in closing, any final remarks or comments you'd like to add, please feel free to.
So first of all, thank you so much, Kyle. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. And I'm very happy to talk about our perspective because, as we mentioned earlier, many companies are afraid from this process. And many customers don't really know what the process is and why it's so important. So I hope that I gave a little bit of an insight of how it looks like from our perspective, from the auditor's perspective. And that it's not scary, and we're here for you. We are very nice people. And I hope that people will understand that at the end of the day, all of us have the same goal, which is have a SOC 2 certification.
I need not add anything more. Tali, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure and a blast. Who knows, maybe we'll see you on another episode. To anyone that joined us and listened in today, hope you got something insightful, valuable, and helpful. And we'll catch you in the next episode of Comply or Die.